I get mad at somebody here, I'm not about to unfollow them. I'm just not gonna hit them up no more.
Yeah, I think when they get like when they have like a disagreement or something happens.
Like, really?
I mean, if you don't have to interact with them, there's no real. But I was wondering, like, if I'm OGZ in the back of my head, I'm like, haha. Like, if I'll recognize it, it was from a fucking Geico commercial. It was.
This episode of No Jumper is slow, y'all. Am I tripping or this episode is slow? Am I tripping or this episode slow? Let me see.
Company logo. Mayor's office.
If that is even a thing, but he's not the only one. A lot of people have relationships the same way people to this day, when they see me, they assume Nicki Minaj, even though I haven't worked for her in years. It's the same way as like people just assume the, the connection, even though there's not one there. So
I'll play that real quick.
The homies gonna get you that beef and all that. We not rap beefing, we rip.
So this is DJ Akademiks breaking down the YG and Drakeo beef. So let's see what DJ Akademiks has to say.
We beefing. The homies gonna get you.
Now, a lot of people actually believe that the homies got Drakeo the Ruler. How? Well, after, Drakeo the Ruler dropped the song Ingleweird, right? Where also, I think he's on another song rapping about YG being shot, almost kind of like he was taking credit for it. So he was clowning YG for being shot in the hip. If you don't remember, a couple years ago, YG was shot in the hip at a studio.
And they say that Drakeo is taking credit for that.
Luckily, he survived. But this was 2015. He was shot in the hip. It was 3 bullet wounds. And it was at a Los Angeles recording studio. Okay? Drakeo raps about YG being shot. Okay? And yeah. Hold on. I forgot what's the song. Is it Ingleweird? Or is the other song? Anyway. Okay. Oh, here it is. Thank you to the reels.
They start. As soon as we hit outside, they start boom, 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 sparking. I fall back in the crib. I'm shot. You feel me? I'm over there. I'm hit. I'm trying. This nigga shot me. You just hear more shots. Mac.
Yeah, the Soldier Boy.
I got hit in the hip. I got lucky.
Pizza party, not delivery, it's the journal. I'm finna put 90 shots in his torso.
Ooh, so that's the bar. I'm finna put 90 shots in his torso, which is, kind of around the area where your hip is.
But he meant to stop and go, lock and load, no warnings. He's a rapper, but I made his hip rock and roll.
He's a rapper, but I made his hip rock and roll, okay? Acting like he was doing a little Uzi. You know that little dance Uzi got? You know what I mean?
As soon as we hit up.
This real Trap Lord Ross-ish.
Outside, they start.
So, essentially, I'm painting a picture of while we are, like, and it's kind of like some Chicago shit, right? It's like kind of like some Jacksonville shit, kind of like some Memphis shit, where there's real actions happening while these lyrics are going down. Now, did Drakeo the Ruler shoot YG? I have no idea. I would say what the streets is saying, but these days, when I just go to Flacco to get the streets. The streets opinion. Flacco's the streets now. Anyway.
Flacco's the streets now? If Flacco is the streets, I need to go into his house. If Flacco is the streets, I need to go home. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
So people think, like they were into it. So Drakeo, which this happens all the time. This happens all the time. And I want to put out this warning for rappers. I want to put out this warning for rappers and anybody in this music business. This music business, there's street always adjacent to it. And it's usually a numbers game or a gun game. That's just the reality of it. You're not going to run into somebody you don't like and say, let's catch a fair one. What do I mean? It's a numbers game. If you run into a guy you don't like and he has 50 niggas and you have 5, It's going to be a long day. The reality of it is you kind of have to match the energy of what your enemy has. Now, when your enemy is a big rapper, your enemy could bring out 50 people. Or let's say they go to Rolling Loud. Rolling Loud made significant changes because that became the case. They would give their highest performer an unlimited amount of passes. And then someone who is third line or fourth line on the bill, they would be like, hey, you just get like 5. Now, if those two rappers have beef, you're cooked. That's how many rappers have gotten jumped, gotten pressed. And in this situation, obviously it didn't happen in Rolling Loud, so I want to clear their name. That's how someone got killed. So Drakeo the Ruler gets like, it appears like probably less than 10 passes to go into this West Coast super ganged out. And again, I don't know if you guys are from California, have been to California. It's heavy on the gang shit. It's heavy. It's heavy on it. So, you know, why?
Hey man, big shout out to Point and Shoot, man. We putting some beautiful things together. I appreciate Point and Shoot for helping me push the movement. Thank you to Point and Shoot, man. Shout out to Sebastian Bleak.
YG, who at least in the West Coast ecosystem is a big fish. He's telling all his dusty niggas from his hood, don't get mad at me, bro. I'm just telling you. Yo, come through. This is probably the first time they've left their block, whether it's Cedar Block or whatever. I don't know what block it is, or the treetop block. So these guys is coming out, and honestly, broke is a joke. They're trying to do anything to stay on the team, on the payroll for YG.
Peaceful, what's up?
And also, they flexing for their bitches. Y'all backstage at this shit cut. No, it was blood. So everybody's out there. The guys who never even leave the house is out there. Drakeo the Ruler pulls up. Get into a scuffle. Drakeo the Ruler gets stabbed supposedly a bunch of times, and there was a deep laceration in his neck. Essentially, the cause of death, he drowned on his own blood. Very gruesome. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's extremely unfortunate, man. That's a very aggressive way to lose your life, man. So definitely God bless Drakeo the Ruler for sure.
When you look back at it from the videos we see, it appears that some members of YG's, let's not say YG because we don't know it's YG. Well, I guess we do, because they claim they seen YG security in the mix, fighting. Now they believe YG was also fighting, but he had a mask on, but that's unproven. But here's the interesting part about it. When this goes down, the people with supposedly YG's crew, and it's now being kind of singled out like, listen, whoever did this is probably a nigga with YG's crew. Or YG. It appears that they were armed with makeshift, like almost shanks that were meant to evade whatever check-in that was going to be done at the front. And basically, they came there on some prison shit.
Yeah, that was crazy how that situation even came about. And you better believe that Drakeo's family, it's not Drakeo, Drakeo's family has a huge lawsuit for this, because how did this situation end up with this man losing his life?
But they didn't come to squabble up, as Kendrick would say. They came to catch a body. Now, did they come to kill Drakeo? We don't know. But they weren't into the squabbling. He dies. The case has been sitting pretty much seemingly as a cold case for years, until the internet, and this is why I love the West Coast. West Coast podcasters might as well have a gun and a badge. The streets, or the street niggas from West Coast podcasts, that podcast on the West Coast, because their music knowledge is not the one proprietary thing that they have, that if they give insight about maybe a Drake album or, I don't know, a J. Cole album, that'll have them stick out. What they do is they rely on telling hood stories. Well, here's the thing. Enough of them told enough hood stories that the police have found new leads from their podcasting. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, Yeah. I can't say nothing about that, man, because that is a very true statement. That is a very true statement. That is a very true statement. You just gotta pay attention and be careful. You just gotta pay attention. You gotta just be careful, man. You gotta just pay attention and be careful because the things that these dudes go on the internet and say are illegal and they lead to indictments. You feel me? So, man.
The police were clueless. The police had nowhere to go. The police was gonna let this shit just rock. Which, by
until Flacco came around.
the way, unheard of. In modern times where there's so much technology, we literally saw the Julio killers. Remind me to talk about it in a second. We saw them in 4K. They thought, yo, this dude ran around the car with the gun like he was Al Pacino. We're watching these guys. We can see the pimple on their face, the sweat beating up, coming down. That's how clear cameras is in 2026. Yet, at a very public event, granted, there might have not been a lot of cameras, but come on, everyone has at least one camera phone. There's hundreds of eyewitnesses. The police were at a loss of finding new leads to arrest whoever murdered Drakeo. So when the police run out of options, you know what they do? They watch podcasts. Thanks to No Jumper, thanks to Clubhouse, thanks to these amazing platforms. And I'm not blaming the people who own these platforms either. Yo, if niggas wanna help crack the case, who are, you know what I mean? Just give them a mic. What's the problem? So the talking and yapping has gotten the attention of the police. This case is back open and hot. What does that mean? The police, with the DA, they're firing off subpoenas. They now want to do, let's go search this property. We want your phone. We want to.
Akademiks is making a hell of a point, though. Akademiks is making a hell of a point. Or open source snitching for sure. For sure. Clubhouse open 24 hours, man. That's the indictment hotline. The indictment hotline. Go to Clubhouse, get your story off, get told on, tell on somebody. It's all open, man. Clubhouse. Tell and get told on. You feel me? For the tellers and the tellers. Easy call. So when it comes to these dudes having these back and forth in these stories, yeah, man, it's gotta stay off the internet, bro.
Doing things that they should have done then, but they didn't have much leads. So what have they done? They showed up to No Jumper, trying to request footage. They wanted to talk to not only Adam22, but one of his hosts that supposedly had uttered, hey, listen, the nigga who killed Drakeo, me and him, we passed the ball back and forth every week.
That was a terrible thing for Munchie B to say.
That was ridiculous. Now, to be fair to him, he did come back on my platform. Well, he didn't say it on my platform, but he came on my platform to defend himself. And he said, "Act. That could mean anything." And that's right, it's freedom of speech. But
it can mean exactly what you said, too. So, that's part of anything.
I do want to remind these LA guys, maybe Home Depot. I don't know if it's a thing anymore where, like, you need a job, you can just go outside of Home Depot. You know, Trump is deporting all the Mexicans. So, like, this is y'all talk, right? Like, if you black, you in a gang, tuck your rag, okay? Put your construction boots on and go in front of Home Depot. If your way to make money as a former gang member or street nigga, because this is how they're all excusing it. Well, I got to make some money. It's to go on a podcast and discuss crimes that you've committed, you've witnessed,
That's the worst way to make money. And if that's how you have to make money, nigga, stay off the internet.
Homies that are also being looked at committed. You probably want to find another profession. There's a lot of ways to make money. That probably isn't the smartest one. But no one's going to listen to me. $300 from No Jumper will get... Listen, if the feds paid these niggas $500, they would walk into the interrogation room and drop 30 every fucking week. Yo, y'all ran out of tape? Yo, I still got more to tell y'all. Cut that back on. On the damn homies, I got more to tell you. Nah, I didn't tell you about the part where he took the gun and gun butt. That's how they're doing it in LA. Don't be surprised, chat. This has been happening for 3 years. That we're seeing podcast shit in every single LA indictment. And not one of them has said, maybe we should stop. In fact, they all...
And none of them said, hey, maybe we should not talk about this. Maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't be talking about this. Maybe, just maybe, we should be leaving this situation alone because it's not for the betterment of what we have going on as a whole.
Let's keep saying, that's public information. Like, okay, perfect. Gotcha. You can't find no other region. Not in Florida. And there's people who do Florida content. Not in Atlanta. Not even in New York. There's a lot of New York bloggers, this and that. There's even hood bloggers in New York. We don't see where they're quoting. This person.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. As being an LA nigga, I'll say that only LA niggas go on the internet and start talking all the business. All the business. And if somebody else does it, they're not as popular.
There's a podcast or this person gets online habitually and consistently gives us stories and clues about crimes we're investigating. I don't know what it is about LA, but they're addicted to podcasting and addicted to being in Ricos. You know how you could tell these podcasters don't be capping? Because every time they tell us a story that we're keying and laughing.
It's on the dead homies. It's on the set. I swear to God, I'm the realest. Niggas love to talk about how real they are. Gonna love talk about it right into the court tanks.
Laughing about, and we're like, nah, that couldn't have happened. Wait, I chased Future where? Hell nah. We see it in an indictment later. Oh shit, it did happen. Oh shit. Oh, y'all ain't loose cannon. Y'all did not do that. Oh shit. Yeah, I did. I did. Wow, perfect. I don't know what it is. It's a syndrome that only affects LA. I've seen, DJU does a podcast for Chicago. I don't see it happening there. Maybe people just die and they don't even get to court. Probably is. But I've never seen routinely where the criminal element is basically, and I can't blame, nobody blame Adam 22, No Jumper. Do not blame Vlad.
Nigga, what you mean you ain't blaming them? Academics, you exactly are blaming them. Because I wasn't even thinking about them until you brought them up.
West Coast gangbangers do their depositions and interrogations every single week.
For sure.
They'll say one thing, and they don't even leave it in there and be like, oh, shit, I should have said that. They come back and clarify. Oh, hold on. You know when I said he had the gun? Now, he had the gun, but he didn't fire. He actually gave it to his man. You know the nigga with a pimple? He got like a missing tooth? Yeah, he the one who fired the shit.
How am I wrong? I said the nigga with the pimple did it. Exactly.
With all due respect to the West Coast, I'm not going to lie. You know they used to say, y'all do a better job than Vlad TV at solving the crime. I appreciate you niggas for cleaning up the fucking streets.
That's real.
You know why? When they're telling the stories, they're just implicating niggas around. They're not even telling on their enemies. I would respect a little bit more if it's like they tell stories, but they be like,
because then the niggas who ain't telling stories is allowing spaces for these niggas to get on YouTube and lie about their stories. So yeah, no, he ain't wrong. I don't disagree with Akademiks at all.
Yeah, John, we be.